independent data that this moral value from this Allah character took place.
Are you asking me for scientific evidence? Is that what you're trying to imply?
Yeah, the stance independent evidence.
Yeah,
yes.
so I told you I was going to offer you two routes. I was going to give you first the philosophical argument, and then I was going to give you the scientific one. So the first one
Go
is...
for the scientific one.
Why?
Because that's more valid. Go ahead with the scientific
Science
one.
is a slave to philosophy. Science presupposes math, and math presupposes logic,
claim.
and logic hinges on philosophy.
There
So
we go,
either way,
Derek.
we're going
That's
to go
just
back
a
to
claim.
philosophy.
So let's go with the scientific evidence, because I'm not interested in
Okay.
Phil Bros.
Well, I'm not a Philbo. I hate them, actually, so don't worry about that. But
Well,
anyhow,
you do hate
so
yourself.
there's different scientific experiments that have been done where it shows basically children and different societal...
Host, you're getting cooked. Calm down.
Okay.
How am I getting cooked?
Just forget about them. I don't know why they're trolling. Okay, so there's different experiments that have been conducted essentially across like a various amount of continents and countries, where they see the children and how adults typically tend to act, and they'll find a tendency that amongst all of them, even as young as 1 year old, they tend to be grossed out by things such as stealing, things such as treachery.
Who conducted this study? Who conducted this study?
I forgot her name, but I remember one of the books, it had like 26 studies all compiled into one book. It's called Born Believers by Justin L. Barrett. He's one of the leading evolutionary psychologists from Oxford.
Interesting. So it sounds to me like you're attributing this to some data that this God exists outside of minds?
No, you asked me what's the basis that there is this intuitive...
No, what's the objective data that this God implemented this moral framework into
Well, I told you that's why it's going to boil down to philosophy.
Well, how do you know that this isn't from some other deity or from some other source like naturalistic evolutionary processes?
Hence why I tried to go the philosophical route, because I knew you were going to ask that regardless. So now we're back to square one. So all of this is being said under the assumption that Islam is true. Now, whether you want to ask about whether Islam is true is a whole different thing. But under that assumption, just
let's assume that it's not true.
Yeah, okay.
And let's try to grant how it is true. Because I'm not interested in assuming that it's true.
Don't have to.
I want to know how it is true.
Yeah, that's why I said, if you want to ask, how do we know Islam is true? What's the proof for that?
Yeah.
That's a very different conversation. But granted, because we're talking about...
let's have that conversation, because that's what this live is about.
Okay, but sure, no problem.
I'm not granting something that's not been established. I want to be able to grant that this worldview of yours is valid and exists in reality.
I can help you, Sultan.
That's fine. But again, the topic that we were talking about is moral nihilism. Not
I don't care about that topic. I'm talking about establishing whether or not God exists. That's what this live is for.
Is that
and you can try to run another argument that I don't care about, like nihilism and morality. But let's talk about whether or not
for just 2 seconds.
God exists.
I'll give you. Just hold on. It says like ask me anything, so I just assumed I can ask about moral nihilism.
Yeah, and you did, and we're moving on now to establish this God exists, to establish your claim about moral nihilism.
Okay, we'll talk about that. No problem.
Objective morality being a necessity, but we need to know if God exists before you can establish your moral framework.
I agree. Okay, no problem.
So let's
go ahead. Yeah, okay.
So
he wanted to talk, so I'm
on a purely scientific / historical level, we as in the consensus of humanity can come to the conclusion that there existed a man named Muhammad or whatever, just like there was a man named Jesus Christ. And
that's not a consistent.
That's not a consistent. Even that's not a consensus.
I think she meant to say consensus.
I meant consensus.
I feel like it's pretty close.
Yeah, we can grant that he married a child as well. We can grant that he existed and married a child. That's fine.
What is marrying a child? I don't understand what that has to do with the conversation.
Host, it seems like you're trying to run.
All right,
what am I running from?
About, like God's existence.
Religious principle on
so why are you guys running from showing that God existed.
Yeah,
That's what
I just asked
with.
you. Do you want to talk about whether God exists or not?
It's just kind of gross.
Yeah, it is really gross. But yeah, let's talk about it.
Okay, awesome. So there's like different various arguments. So I guess I'll just try one of them. You ever heard like the argument from necessary truths?
Let's look at the argument for divine hiddenness. Why does this God hide itself?
Wait, I thought I'm the guy trying to prove it, not the guy trying to argue like for defense.
Yeah,
now you're giving me like an
you
atheistic
are arguing for defense. So I would like you to defend the claim that God is hiding from
you didn't
people.
ask me to defend the claim. You asked me to prove the claim. For the past 5 minutes, you
so
asked me
prove why God is hiding from people. Give
I don't
me
think he's hiding from
I thought it was
reconciliation
I thought it was
as to why God is hiding from people if God exists. I'm not
said to prove that God exists. You're shifting.
Wait,
Don't
but
be a
that's
I want to do it through the divine hiddenness argument. I want you to reconcile
even give that any weight? How do you know
the divine hiddenness argument. Where is God then?
Where is God? What do you mean? Like in terms of action or location?
In terms of interaction with humanity.
He's there every day. Why do you think you're still breathing?
Where?
Why do your lungs not pop out of nowhere?
Because my lungs work and my physical body is still functioning.
Popping out of nowhere?
The fact that my physical body is still functioning.
It doesn't have to. That's begging the question. I'm asking you, why does it have to?
It's begging the question that God does that or functions that.
Oh, if you don't want it to be God, you're just going to have to offer a better explanation that satisfies the PSR.
Sure, physical processes of the body.
They themselves fall under the same category. Why do they have to keep functioning nomenologically? They don't have to. We don't have to have gravity keep functioning. That's just an assumption. Why does it?
Why does God have to function?
Sorry,
bro, you are shifting.
Why does God have to function
nomenologically?
Why
does God have to function nomenologically? Why are you running from demonstrating that this is from God? You're just making claims after claim after claim. God does this. God does this.
I can make an argument.
What is the evidence? What is the evidence? What is the evidence that it is from this God? It's that simple.
Yeah, because he would be the ultimate causer, so everything would just fall into secondary causation.
That's still a claim. So what supplements this claim?
Host, sir, I told you.
I'm not running.
Let me give you the argument from necessary truths. But
let me get some evidence. Let me get some evidence that this God exists outside of minds.
I wanted to, but then you said no.
Okay, then give it to me.
Yeah, maybe because you interrupted, and then you said argue against divine hedonism.
Okay, well, give me some fucking evidence then.
Okay, no problem. Please. We don't need to drop F-bombs.
Calm down.
So the argument from necessary truths.
This is my fucking life, you motherfucker. Holy fucking shit. What the fuck?
Yeah, I am a motherfucker.
Yeah, what's the evidence, you fuckface?
Me?
Yeah, fuckface. What's the evidence of God?
Why are you talking to me like that?
I do whatever the fuck I want.
You can do whatever you want, but I assume that these...
The host is... Listen, stop menstruating, dumbass.
Yeah, here, let's stop menstruating there. Bye-bye.
Wow, crazy insanity.
Yeah, I don't know, so...
Who's the asshole that's giving this coward gifts?
Okay.
So instead of running from demonstrating God exists through a chain of philosophical arguments that only demonstrates ideas, let's look at evidence.
I literally got muted. I don't know why I got muted.
What is the evidence?
Yeah, okay, no problem.
What is the evidence?
Okay, no problem. So can we agree on certain premises? So first off,
that we require evidence.
Yeah, this is the evidence. We're going to build that syllogism right now, right in front of your own eyes. Do you agree that necessary truths exist?
Like physical things existing is a necessary truth?
Necessary truth.
Like the universe exists is necessary. The sun exists is necessary. Physical properties, quantum fields, all of the things that interact with nature.
No, I'm talking about propositions.
All of these things that, we're talking language?
Of course, we're talking propositions. That's why I said
what's the difference between a necessary truth about the state of affairs of reality and a proposition?
Yeah, well, I'm not talking about the state of affairs of reality, like contingent ones. So,
right, you're talking for example, about language, the laws of logic. Which is contingent.
Sorry?
The laws of logic are contingent upon the physical reality.
What?
Do you think identity could exist without physical properties to facilitate ground them?
So under another hypothetical physical world, the laws of logic do not have to be true?
So again, do you think that the physical properties?
Answer the question.
It's just yes or no.
You didn't answer my. You didn't answer my question.
Yourself. Answer the question.
Do you think that the physical properties?
Answer the question. You just baked yourself.
Of reality define identity? Yes or no?
Depends on what.
Okay, so can you name me the identity of something that doesn't involve a physical thing?
Okay, and just for caveat to clarify, physical under your view means what? Material?
Yes.
I think God is immaterial.
Okay, so what would a reference for God be?
What do you mean? Like locatively?
What establishes the identity of God?
His own properties in essence.
Okay, so which would be demonstrated?
Through philosophical argumentation in scripture.
Okay, so just propositions, language, words, linguistics, terms. I'm looking for something.
Yeah, but these terms refer to something that's concrete, not abstract. Like they have actual real existence outside the mind.
How is it shown to be concrete? What is the evidence for that?
That's why I'm trying to establish the syllogism. So maybe let me run it instead of trying to
So by concrete, do you mean an abstract concept? Or a property of something that doesn't have anything within the state of affairs of reality? Yes, so something that exists materially
outside the mind, right?
In reality, outside of the mind. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So in this argument, essentially, with the transcendental argument, you have necessary truths. Okay, necessary truths are eternally true, which means they must be true across all logically possible
Now, when you
worlds.
mean necessary truths, do you mean something that exists in the state of affairs of reality or a proposition? Because these are two different categories.
What I mean by necessary truths, what I mean by that is a proposition that cannot fail to obtain.
Okay, so that's a linguistic category, and this is not a thing that exists in reality. These are two separate categories.
We're gonna get there. Wait. Do you think the propositions don't refer to something in reality?
Not always. We can have a proposition about Goku being able to beat the brakes off Vegeta, but it could be logically sound too.
Yeah,
and it
but
could
necessary
be valid
truths.
As an argument, as a necessary truth.
Yeah, but
right?
You gave me a
but
contingent
it doesn't mean
truth.
that these things exist within any reality.
But, yeah,
we could also argue that Goku is a necessary being. We could argue that without Goku, there wouldn't be the necessity for Dragon Ball Z in all universes.
You're just equivocating on necessary
philosophically. Well, you're equivocating on necessary too.
Okay, so
when you're
tell
saying
me the
that
two ways I use
necessary would be something that is demonstrated to be the case. How would we demonstrate
so can I get through my
the
argument?
Properties and attributes of God to be the case in reality?
So can I get through my argument without being cut off within the first 20
outside of
seconds?
propositions?
Yeah, without being cut off from the first 20 seconds, could I just get to the argument then, please?
Damn, this
I'm just trying to get you to understand the distinction between a proposition and a universal truth that exists in the state of affairs of reality.
Yeah,
like
a universal truth is still going to hinge on the proposition being true, hence the truth bearer and the truth maker. So let me just make the argument.
So what is a truth maker for God being within?
That's reality? A whole different question. Just let me prove God exists.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is a different question. Listen, it feels like I'm watching Forrest Gump right now. All you're doing is
look.
Yeah,
if I like the fact that you're sucking Sultan's dick, but if you want to just chime in and add some substance to the argument, that'd be great. So bye.
Bye. It's just Sultan now.
Okay.
Your peanut gallery.
I expected for us to calm down. I think we're taking it a little too far.
Oh no, I'm totally fine.
Everybody, it's absolutely impossible. Whatever you're saying, lost to the wind because you just strident. You got your two homies up here. It's crazy.
I didn't ask
if you really are up here, I got you, but you didn't ask him to calm down either.
I told Enes to shut up, actually.
Well, they're your friends, and you guys knew you were all coming up here. So
no, we didn't.
If you wanted to have an organized conversation,
I see a bunch of your friends in the comments too,
and all your friends are here.
Yeah, everybody is listening.
You're
and your 3,000. You're
still not demonstrating God to anybody.
Maybe because I'm being cut off within the first 20 seconds, constantly.
You are not.
Because I want to.
Okay, so how about we put a timer then? Put a timer for 2 minutes, and then we'll see if I get it.
I love that I'm being recorded too.
I'm not recording you. What are you on about?
I appreciate being recorded.
Dude, who's recording you, bro?
In fact, I hope that helps boost me here on TikTok. That'd be great.
Bro, I don't even got a YouTube channel, bro. You
Thank you for that. Hell yeah.
The paranoia is going crazy, honestly. Okay, dude.
Yeah, it is.
I don't have any malicious
intention. Form of Sultan. So, Sultan, let me ask you again. What is the demonstration of your argument being within the state of affairs?
So just give me 2 minutes, inshallah, please. I'm asking nicely, please. 2 minutes. That's all I ask. Okay. Thank you. Okay, look. So if necessary truths exist, and necessary truths are just true propositions or facts that cannot fail to obtain. Okay.
I reject that.
It's been.
I reject that necessary truths
can
or
you hold
propositions.
On, just
but
please.
I can't let you continue because
you can ask me to break down everything else later.
Let
let me finish.
Say that necessary truths are not within the state of affairs of reality and are.
Can I just please finish?
This is a category.
The only way to defuse this situation is to actually let him speak for 2 minutes and uninterrupted. I say this as a middle.
Well, I just wanted to establish that as a caveat to this conversation.
You mentioned that like
propositions
5-6 times so far
are not the state of affairs of reality. But go ahead.
Okay, if you know what my argument is, then why are you making like such blunders? Because you would know what I'm trying to lead to. It has nothing to do with what you're saying. So just let me get to my point. If necessary truths exist, okay, and they are true across all possible worlds, okay, let's just agree on that. Second thing is, if for abstract things to exist, they must subsist within a mind. If there are no minds to subsist within, then propositions simply don't exist. So now, since the necessary truths are propositions that are eternally true across all possible worlds, that necessitates an eternal mind, okay, that must exist also across all possible worlds. So just from that step, we can start talking about a God or a being that has all these propositions, making him immediately all-knowing. And then after we can see to that, we can jump to how we know rationally he's merciful, how we know he's an agent, how he has free will, how we know he has wrath, and all these things. But let's just start with step one. So do you agree with the syllogism or no?
No. I don't agree that propositions are... I don't agree that propositions are necessary truths insofar as they're not aligning or describing reality, especially when you're talking about something outside of reality, like something that wouldn't be within reality or demonstrable as a point of reference within reality. So if you're saying a necessary truth would be something that is observable or demonstrable or something that has evidentiary proof behind it, then maybe you would have some kind of substance or concreteness to your argument. But if you're equivocating truth, which is the state of affairs of reality, to mere propositions, then you're making a category error once again. So I cannot accept that your propositional truth as being a necessary truth when propositions are contingent upon language. Propositional truths are not necessary truths.
Yeah, they can be contingent on language. That's perfectly fine. Like, it doesn't take away from the argument, because then I could just flip it back.
It does take away that these propositions and truths are contingent upon language. But we need to have a demonstration of a truth within reality.
Okay. I just would hope the same courtesy is back, because I went on mute. Okay, look. The language, like needing existence, is just going to boil down to the same thing. I'm just going to flip it back and I say, look, since language is like a priori axiom, it's going to require an eternal mind. So regardless, we're going to go back to
no. I do not accept that it's an a priori axiom. I accept that it's a posteriori through us inventing language. Language did not exist before human beings. Abstract concepts need to be evidenced to exist before human beings. Now, if you're equivocating the state of affairs of reality to abstract concepts, then what you're committing is known as a reification fallacy, in which you say that abstracts in themselves are concrete, which they are not. They are descriptors of the concrete, which is reality itself, or the state of affairs of existence. So if you want to take your equivocation elsewhere, then maybe you can try to run that shit with somebody who doesn't understand these things. But since I do understand these things, and you're making a false equivocation between abstract concepts and the state of affairs of reality, then I won't accept your premises.
Okay, so just to talk to you with your own tone. So did you catch like how you started spewing bullshit where you confused universal language with particular language? And then you ended up equivocating of flipping both, where you thought I was making the claim about particular rather than universal? Did you catch like the bullshit?
That doesn't matter. So
no,
it's
no,
not
it does
bullshit
matter.
to say that you're
does matter. I'll tell you
equivocating
why it does matter. Just hold on.
a truth,
Because
a
you
truth
can make the same claim in
with
French.
a proposition.
I could say I love someone in French and in Arabic and in English, and all of them would still contain the same truth value. Why? Because there is that universal truth, that universal language, withholding and attaching all these three languages to each other. So yes, of course it does matter. So let's go back again regarding universal language, not particular language.
Okay, so love. So hold on, I got this. Love is something that exists within us, within the state of affairs,
That's
within
not a
our
proposition,
actions. So what? I don't care about your
my argument is about
frivolous
propositions
and futile argument. Propositions are a language. They're not equivalent to the state of affairs of reality. They are fine. Descriptors of
that would just make
posteriori. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, but I'm talking about necessary truths, not contingent truths.
So what is an example of a necessary truth?
Yeah, I'll give you an example. So 1 + 1 = 2. Do you think that can fail to obtain somewhere?
Well, if we were taking set theory and 1 = 1 set of 1.5, then it would be 3.
I specifically said 1 + 1. I didn't include set theory, so you're adding more to the equation.
Right, but that's fine.
Okay,
but it's still showing how it's not necessarily. Yes, I just demonstrated how.
Okay, so there is a logically possible world where 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2.
I just showed you using set theory that it is contingent upon language once again.
I like
what does set theory and language have to do with 1 + 1 = 2?
It's the rule set for the proposition that 1 + 1 = 2. If we apply the rule set of set theory to where 1 is 1.5 in the set, it would equal 3.
Yeah, but that's just
so
changing.
1 + 1 would be 3.
The value.
Exactly. That's
value,
what propositions are.
No, bro. This isn't slick. You're just making
literally
1 mean 1.5.
Let me give you this proposition. This statement is false. Is that a true statement?
Yeah, and so far that it is false.
Okay. So it's a true statement and it has truth value, but it's still
change the
demonstrating false.
Yeah,
because it's contingent upon the rule set or language in which you're using for the descriptors.
That's fine. That's not the particular. But why did you make one?
That is the particulars.
One second.
Those are the particulars.
Sir, just hold on. Why did you make the 1 become the value of 1.5? That's not my question. My question was we're keeping the value, maintaining that it's the same across all possible worlds. Does 1 + 1 always equal 2 without changing the value?
But it's not necessary. That's
not the question. Does it always equal 2?
That is the question. It doesn't necessarily have to follow the rule set.
Does it always equal 2?
Not necessarily, no.
Okay, not necessarily. So there is a hypothetical world where 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2.
Yes.
Okay. Do you have like any philosophers to just like back this up, if you don't mind?
So do you think like
I can help
that it's possible? Yeah, go ahead.
Assuming your restrictions that 1 cannot be modified in any way, other 1 cannot be modified in any way, we are taking in assumptions and therefore already going towards the direction of a false positive.
Right.
How is this a false positive?
Thank you. Holy shit.
How is this a false positive?
Because we're assuming something is true, and then sure, if that's true, then yeah. But
okay, that's not what a false positive is. That's just saying that under my paradigm, I'm actually consistent. So thank you. I appreciate that.
No, that's not what that means at all. That's not a concession. That's demonstrating.
If that's not what it means, why do you go quiet?
That's demonstrating the fragility.
Why do you go quiet if that's not what it means?
Because I'm too tired to understand what you're going to have to elaborate.
So under my worldview, assuming all the strictness that I gave, am I consistent?
I mean,
I'm asking him.
I guess.
okay, so I am. Okay, thank you.
I'd say yes, but I don't
not
think
really.
Said much.
Okay, no problem. So do you have an argument against like the eternal mind that I mentioned?
Yes. What would be the demonstration of this eternal mind that you mentioned?
Why must
for
they
necessary
exist?
truths to continue to exist and always to exist, there's going to have to be an eternal mind, since propositions are abstract.
So what's the demonstration of this eternal mind that verifies and justifies?
Since necessary truths exist, by necessity an eternal mind exists. How do we know that? Because propositions, aka eternal truths, okay, are abstract, and abstract things subsist within a mind. And for the propositions which are abstract to always exist, there's going to have to be a mind always grounding them. There you go. Eternal mind.
That's an assertion. That's
Can you show me which premise doesn't follow?
That doesn't show that this mind exists in reality.
Okay, so what are you accusing me of? Like a non sequitur?
A lack of demonstration.
That's just an assertion in of itself. Can you tell me which premise doesn't follow?
Okay, so the one that says that abstracts have to be in a mind that exists outside of human beings.
Okay, so are abstract entities grounded within a mind or outside the mind?
They're not entities, they're ideas grounded within human
ideas
minds.
Are abstract objects.
But they're not objects, they're ideas.
Okay, there are things. If
they don't have forms. They're not things.
They're not ideas. Things. So they don't exist?
They're descriptors.
We don't yet understand them.
They're contingent upon the physical brain.
Okay, wait. Are abstract how do I even say this, bro? You said that they're not things.
They're contingent.
Do they not exist?
They are contingent on the physical brain.
That's talking about their modal dependency. I don't care about that.
I think we could narrow it down to calling it a thing, but it's a thing we do not understand. And
whether you understand it or not doesn't negate the fact whether it exists. Does it exist?
It doesn't support that they exist outside of minds or as a thing
I'm asking,
on
do
themselves,
they exist
or without human minds?
Sure.
Okay, they don't exist without human minds.
We're going to talk about that. So do they exist like in any context?
Yes.
Okay, awesome.
In the subjective concept.
On a subjective concept, what do you think abstract and concrete are like subjective categories?
Yes.
What?
Absolutely. Yeah. What's the contradiction in that?
Do you believe you have ideas?
What's the contradiction in that?
I'll tell you what's the contradiction. Do you believe you have ideas?
Yeah, go ahead. What's the P not P in that?
The P and not P, okay? The P is abstract things exist. The not P is you saying otherwise. We know abstract things exist. What are you on about?
That's not what he's saying.
Yeah,
I don't understand why
I'm saying they exist mind-dependent.
Yeah, I agree. Hence, the eternal mind of God.
No, it doesn't follow.
Yeah, but they don't. But they don't exist eternally. Go ahead, Caleb.
But by the way,
I'm tired of cooking this fool anyway. Go ahead, Caleb.
Sorry, hello. Can I just something? Yeah. Yeah. Assertions you've been making are not justifiable at all. And you saying that abstract object then necessarily mean an eternal mind needs to exist does not make any sense to me. Because we understand that right now, in reality, the best explanation, at least where we understand how concepts are not abstract objects in quotes occur, is via human minds, and no other explanation or no other example of any other type of mind has been made. So you have not even explained how an eternal mind can exist and hold such concepts before you can even say, oh, this thing, your syllogisms or your conclusions are correct. Because you've not even justified how that mind can work. But I wonder how a non-human mind can hold concepts, because the only thing that have been proven to hold concepts is human minds. You have not been able to justify that. And also, there are no such thing as universal truths. You have not been able to justify that also. 1 + 1 is not a universal truth, because it is true in specific in specific contexts. If you have done mathematics or done any form of logic, you understand what we are talking about. You understand what Tiny has been trying to explain to you. That the laws of mathematics are all works based on particular rules that they have been given. That's how mathematics works. It's based on rules. So there are particular rules in which 1 + 1 does not equal to 3. And it's not, that doesn't make it universal.
And also,
let me finish, please.
This applies to philosophy and logic as well. Yes.
Let me finish, please, because you keep on behaving as if you know what you're talking about, and you are proving that you don't have any idea or the concepts you think you're talking about.
I don't know why you feel like I'm
as a Math 500 student, I agree with you, Caleb.
So So the issue, so you have not been able to. So you're saying that there's a word for love in French, English, and other language does not
I
still
didn't say
show
that. I
that
didn't
is
say that.
does not. You said so in the
I
beginning when
didn't
I
say
entered.
that.
So let
That's
me
not what I
finish,
said.
please. Let me finish, please. Stop
Yeah,
doing.
you can
Stop.
finish without straw manning.
Yeah.
That's not
So
what I said.
stop interrupting me,
Sultan,
please.
just be an adult or I will mute you. Please stop.
I hope the same goes both ways.
I've not
I am the
interrupted you when
mod.
you were
I'll
speaking.
mute
Yeah,
you.
that's
So I don't
fine.
understand.
Just
I don't
calm
understand why you
down.
miss with go ways. Anyways, so like you have not been able to justify there being universal truths. You are not being able to justify there being abstract objects beyond human mind. So you're just saying this and saying that the only explanation is an eternal mind. Yeah, that's not how to give justification. Justification needs to be outright on its own, not that the only way it can occur is then that. That's not how to give justification for your claims. You've not been able to do any of these things. And I've been trying to correct you and I've been arrogant about it.
Okay. So what aboutism? Well, that's all I heard. Okay, maybe let's try
You know
again.
what I heard you.
Be consistent.
You are clearly
No,
not
be
an honest
consistent now.
interlocutor. You
Be
are clearly not
consistent.
honest.
Hey,
That's
why
the
aren't the
issue.
mods interrupting all of a sudden?
You are
Come
clearly
on.
not honest. That's the
Come
issue.
on. Who me? Are you gonna like stand in or not? Just gonna watch? Of course. Okay.
I'm
So yeah,
sorry, I
so
was
again,
busy muting one of your friends who was being a racist in the comments.
Okay. That's
again,
good. Mute him.
Sultan, he said that you lack the justification for your claim that it is an eternal mind.
Yeah,
You
but
lack
he
the
didn't show me which premise
justification
doesn't follow.
for universal truths. You the one that says it's an eternal mind, or the abstracts are grounded in the eternal mind. That's
Okay, so what are they
both
grounded
of us disagree with. Show me how they're grounded in this eternal mind.
Sorry? Wait, that's not what
Show
you
me.
did you hear yourself?
How I'm asking you to justify your premise that they're grounded in eternal mind.
That's the conclusion, sir.
This.
That's not the premise.
Right. So how did you reach this conclusion? So the one that says that abstracts exist outside of our minds, or
I never
our
said
objective, or our universal truth. So what were your premises again? Restate.
Okay. First one, necessary truths exist. Number two, necessary truths.
That's the one. That's the one. The first
necessary truths don't exist.
How do you know? What is a necessary truth? What is
a proposition that cannot fail to obtain? I already defined that.
Okay, so that's already stuck in the rule set of the proposition, correct?
Oh yeah, of course.
Okay, so if the rule set of this proposition is variable, right, and we can change this rule set at any time,
then you're just changing the argument.
How is it a truth?
You're just changing the argument.
So what establishes a universal truth?
The fact that I cannot fail to obtain. Are you like challenging
axioms? So
what's
one example? What's one example?
By the way, I just want you to realize that this isn't about,
I just want one example of an axiom.
Yeah, okay, I'll answer that. I promise you. Just give me 30 seconds. Okay. I want you to realize that this isn't about like theism, atheism anymore.
Is this an example of an axiom?
I swore that I would give you the answer at the end. I just need 30 seconds. I need you to realize that this argument...
No. I don't want you to
so
go
I'm
on
give you the
some
answer,
diatribe.
then I'm going to provide my comment.
Yes, please give me the
axiom.
Answer.
Yes. One example of an axiom is logic. Okay, there you go. So now let me just finish. So
cool.
I want you to realize that what you're trying to contend is not about atheism and theism anymore. You're literally trying to push so far that you're trying to challenge the existence of truth in of itself. Yes. That is intellectual bankruptcy at its finest.
Oh my God.
That's a claim.
They're just grandstanding here. Even logic is not...
That's not grandstanding.
Even logic is not universal.
That's not grandstanding.
Even logic is not universal. If you have read anything about logic, you understand what we are talking about.
Yeah, I'm sure.
There's paraconsistent logic. There are different types of logical frameworks.
We're talking about classical logic, sir.
Yeah, that's the point. Classical logic is a logical framework.
That's not the only form of logic. That's not the only form of logic, though.
Yeah, but the difference between classical logic and
so what about paraconsistent logic?
Is that almost everybody in the world rejects all other forms except classical logic.
Nobody rejects this.
So it's an argument ad populum?
Don't know what you're talking about. Nobody rejects this.
No, it's not an argument ad populum. I'm just showing you an absurdity.
Nobody rejects these things. I was saying
wait. So your friend Caleb says nobody rejects it. So
yes,
do you reject fuzzy logic? Or do you accept fuzzy logic?
They are all different logical frameworks.
Do you accept it or not? Say yes or no.
Yes, they work.
So do you think under a certain paradigm contradictions can exist?
It's under fuzzy logic. Under fuzzy logic, I think contradiction does not exist.
Okay,
Under classical logic, contradiction exists.
Under a certain hypothetical? Under a certain hypothetical, since you said you don't reject these these forms of logic, since you don't reject them, I just want to see your consistency. Do you think there is a possible world where there is a squared circle?
I don't think there's a possible world in the squared circle, and fuzzy logic does not discuss about that
awesome.
also.
Okay, so
like,
hold on.
Hold on.
This question
know what you're talking about, because all these things are not issues for me.
Caleb,
I'd like to go. Hold on, Sultan. Hold on, guys. Hold on a second. I want to take this in another direction here. So, you would say that logic is contingent upon God, or is logic necessary?
Depends how we're talking about contingency now. So if we're talking about like a grounding relation, then I would say logic is grounded within God's mind. But then if we're talking about
if logic is let's just stop there. If logic is grounded in God's mind, does God have the ability to change logic?
No.
To make contradictions exist?
No.
So God is not omnipotent.
I don't define omnipotent as something that does anything with thing, including contradictions. For me, what it means to be omnipotent.
Then God is limited.
One second.
And
for me, what it means to be omnipotent
logic.
Under Islamic orthodoxy.
So God is bound by logic.
It depends what you mean by bound.
So God can't break logic. God can't control and dominate and have authority over logic.
I don't think that's a boundary. But if you want to call it a boundary, that's fine. But I think that's silly.
Okay. So if God can't change logic,
just to finish, under my
then
view,
God has to abide by and is contingent on
the same way he
logic.
has to continue existing.
So God is not necessary.
No, of course he is. You're just playing with the terms.
Okay, that's all we've been doing the whole time, Sultan.
Okay, just let me
that's
finish.
all philosophy is playing with terms.
Just let me finish. You'll hear an answer. You probably
let me start again. So let's say logic
I just want to reply
is not
before you start again.
Contingent upon God and is necessary, and God is contingent upon and has to be underneath logic. That means that all possible worlds, logic is necessary, and God is contingent.
No, I didn't say that. The only way it would be.
I'm saying that.
Okay, I just want to respond because you made 4 points. So just hold on. Okay, we're gonna go through them one by one. Number one, you can word things using these like very anthropomorphic, blasphemous buzzwords, and when you break down that lingo, wait, please. But when you break down that lingo, you realize that it's all sophistry and empty. I could say, oh, God has to exist. Wait,
projection.
Please, come on. I could easily say God has to exist. Oh my God, look, he has to exist. He's forced to exist. He cannot cease to exist.
That's what you're doing.
He's limited now. I can word it in that way. But then when I take out all the sophistry, all that translates to in basic English is, oh, God is eternal. He cannot fail to obtain.
Well, if we remove all the sophistry from this conversation, you would no longer be on the panel.
Please. Now to go to the second thing, under my view, under Islamic orthodoxy, omnipotence means doing all that which is logically possible. So when you say God cannot
it's contingent on logic. Yeah.
When you say God cannot do contradictions,
that's
contingent for me would not be a limit, but even if you want to call it a limit, it would be non-arbitrary. So it's trivial, it doesn't matter. Third thing we mentioned.
So it's contingent upon logic, and that is logically demonstrated.
Let me address the third thing.
And you're ignoring that and trying to say it's
not ignoring anything.
Like
I'm just trying to go through all the 4 things you mentioned.
Or has some sort of value instead of grandstanding this point. You could have just said
Why is everybody throwing around the word grandstanding?
Because you're very, very grandiose in your presentation.
Because I asked you to please let me respond to 4 arguments you made. That's grandstanding?
Yeah. Okay, so anyhow, despite the fact that God has been shown through my demonstration
the third one
to be contingent upon logic, then that means that logic is necessary and doesn't require
logic is necessary in one way, not in another.
Is in all ways, in all possible worlds, there must be logic.
So you want me to respond to that, or do you want to grandstand?
This is the case, and I think that I'm done with you. You failed at all of your arguments.
That's fine.
And I think that all that you have now is probably a wafting little dream in which you think you have an argument, but I'm going to let you speak.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, look, the only way you can say God is contingent, okay, and so far as he requires something else to exist, you would have to change it. So when we're talking about ontological existence, the only way God can be contingent ontologically is if you say there is something outside of himself that grounds his own existence, which is not the case. That's first. Secondly, if logic is grounded within God's mind, then it is within God's mind, not outside of God's mind. And logic in of itself has no causal relations. So it's not like it's going to keep or maintain God existing. It's not going to work that way. And even if I were to concede to some type of dependency, I would say that would be counterfactual. There is nothing wrong with that. It would be a symmetrical relation where one thing grounds the other and then the other one grounds it. You can't have one without the other. So again, that's not it's not problematic view to have regarding contingency. Yeah. What we're doing is we're flipping between ontological ones and then grounding relations and then logical dependencies and then causal dependencies where we like switch from all these four categories and we keep equivocating on it. But I appreciate you letting me say the last thing.
Yeah, I know you keep equivocating on it. I agree. No, I also know that your argument failed miserably, and I appreciate that. But it seems to me like all of this talk about necessity for something that's never even been shown to be necessary is just blowing fucking smoke. Right. I just want you to understand that.
Okay, and so far, which premise doesn't follow again?
All of them.
So you don't think necessary truths exist?
I don't think necessary truths are limited by propositions.
Well, that wasn't the question.
I think that they have to align
that wasn't the question.
And be coherent with and comport to the state of affairs of reality.
Yeah, but that wasn't the question. The question was, do necessary truths
exist? That's the answer. Necessary truths are material.
You think propositions are material?
I think necessary truths are material.
What are
propositions?
Wait.
What are necessary truths? Have nothing to do with propositions.
What are necessary truths except
necessary truths
true propositions?
Are things that exist in the state of affairs of reality.
You're just telling me that they correspond.
An equivocation to what truth is versus your subjective inferences that you use to demonstrate a God that you never demonstrated.
What's the inference in here? Are you accusing me of using induction?
I'm accusing you of using mere imagination.
No, you said inference. So are you saying I'm using induction?
I'm saying that you're using a line of reasoning that doesn't have a justification or support for a line of reasoning that you presented.
Okay, so if that's what all you mean by inference, then that's fine. Okay, so since you think necessary truths are material, can you give me an example of one?
Yeah, the sun exists.
That's not
Quantum
necessary.
Fields exist. Atoms exist.
Not necessary.
All of these things are necessary.
Okay, so is there a possible world where the sun?
The physicality of reality is necessary.
What's the contradiction in saying the sun doesn't exist? Thank you.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
What's the contradiction in saying the sun doesn't exist?
The sun is unfalsifiable. Do you have a falsifiability metric for the sun?
Is there? I'm saying, is there a problem? If
I'm talking about how science works, and you're talking about
I know how
philosophy.
Science works.
I'm talking about reality.
And we can talk
you're
about
talking
science
about
and the
ideas and
falsifiability
concepts
theory and the
and
different
abstracts.
philosophers and whatnot. We can go into that. That doesn't matter right now.
Yeah, we can talk about abstracts and ideas. That
yeah,
really
and we can talk about Thomas
Kuhn. But what I'm
and
talking about
and all these
is
people.
Reality.
Okay, is there a world where the sun doesn't have to exist?
I don't have access to other worlds, and neither do you.
So you don't have access to logic?
We don't have access to the ontology or epistemology that leads to the other worlds existing. For fuck's sake,
we're just talking about
create a world of possibility into existence.
That's the whole point.
By merely saying this is possible. Exactly, it's hypotheticals.
Okay, so
actuals.
is there a hypothetical
It's very
world?
boring to me.
Is it contradictory to say in a hypothetical world the sun wouldn't exist?
Is it contradictory to say that in a hypothetical world God doesn't exist?
With a question.
It's the same thing as saying God doesn't
you're
exist.
Answering the question with
as
the
saying
question,
the sun doesn't exist.
Yeah, there is a possible world where the sun doesn't have to exist. There is no P
and there is a possible world in which God doesn't exist.
Yeah, sure. If you're talking about logical necessity, not metaphysical.
I'm talking about what would be the contradiction in God not existing in a possible world.
Yeah, because I think God is
I have nothing for you.
Yeah, go
right.
ahead.
Neither does he.
Sorry, neither do I what?
You don't have a contradiction that God doesn't exist in a possible world.
If God is the necessary being, then he cannot fail to obtain.
If.
Well, yeah, I demonstrated the argument. I'm still waiting for the refutation.
Right, but I don't need to refute something that's never been justified or validated. So
that's just an assumption. You can just claim that, bro.
It's an assumption that
I gave you a syllogism.
Necessary.
I clearly gave you a syllogism.
I agree. Yeah, and I never agreed to your premises, especially about
why?
Necessary
because you
truths.
Think necessary truths are material?
I don't think necessary truths are propositional.
Yeah, okay. Are necessary truths material?
Necessary truths are what exists.
Wow, dude, you said they're material, so I just want to hear it again out of your mouth.
But can I ask, how do you equate universal truths with the existence of your God? Like, if there is a God, how do you know that your God is responsible for that?
That's a whole different conversation.
But it's a question I'm asking, so I would like to
Yeah, congratulations. I appreciate that, but that's a whole different conversation. You're just asking me, how do I know that God is the ultimate agent behind it?
This is him running. You know
but
that,
you
right?
yourself are talking about universal truths.
No, you're just
so
running from her question.
No, I'm not running. Truths. So I'm asking you, how do you equate universal truths with the existence of your God specifically?
Yeah, what do you mean by that's on topic? You're asking me, how do I lead up to that conclusion?
Yes. How do you know that it's your God specifically?
Do you and I agree that necessary truths or abstract things are grounded within a mind?
This is again, you're running.
Sir, I'm talking.
That's what I'm saying. We talked about this already. Like, can you just answer my question? Like,
yeah,
so just answer her fucking question.
I'm trying to establish certain premises that we can agree upon. So let's just agree upon premises.
But if I've been listening the whole time, I think I know. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just answer the question. How do you know for a fact that your God is responsible for these universal truths?
You're asking me how. So you're asking me for a demonstration. Yet when I tell you let's agree on certain premises, you're going ahead and saying, no, don't do that. Do you want a demonstration? Because you're clearly asking me how.
Yeah, she wants evidence, not an argument.
She asked how. She wants a demonstration and explanation. Unless you're just equivocating also on the term how. She can speak for herself.
Yeah, I want evidence. Thank you, host. I want evidence. I don't want you to.
You ask me how.
Like, the way you're speaking, it's just like,
just give her
I don't know, like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's like, I'd like for you to just like plainly just be like, this is why, and this is why, not all that extra stuff, please. Thank you. No disrespect. No disrespect.
Just chill out.
No problem. No disrespect. None taken. So let's just go through the argument.
Beyond the strident and the whole wearing you down in the narcissistic way.
Oh.
The raid and the whole 9 yards. Just calm down and have a conversation. If it's honest,
it's obvious he doesn't like women. It's okay.
I think
if you're not being honest, then you won't ever get there.
Okay.
Just calm down.
I'm
all
pretty
those
calm.
techniques, I know, I'm just saying, all those techniques are techniques. They're not true.
I'd like you to not assume like anything on my behalf.
I'm telling you, you've literally been in here with your whole group all this time.
Which I did not invite, and I was not aware of them, and I told them to shut up when they interrupted. And I'm not the guy who said. And I'm not the guy who said shut the fuck up in the face. I'm not the guy who said dickhead.
Right?
Yeah, but you're still a coward.
Right, like guys, let's be chill. Like everything's cool.
Yeah. Hold on.
No, I'm just reminding everybody like who acted like that. Wasn't me.
Hold on, guys. Let's go one on one. Bert, Venus, do you want to engage? Either one of you?
Yeah, so I think I might know this argument. He's trying to say that logical, absolute truths, blah, 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 concepts, abstract, whatever you want to call it, are grounded by mind. These concepts supposedly existed before people, so they must be grounded in a mind that existed before people. Whoopsie doody doo, there you go. It must have been God's mind. I feel like that's the argument he might have been trying to run.
That's exactly it.
Not exactly like that, but it's similar to it.
Okay, so what's the difference?
Verbatim.
No, that's not verbatim.
Okay, so what's the difference?
I never mentioned people in my sentence, actually.
What's the difference? You said a mind. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. So I'm just saying the way I expressed it was not the same. I'm saying if you need, if you believe that there are eternal truths or necessary truths, and they would exist across all possible worlds, then ultimately you would have to have a mind that's eternal as well.
Can I ask a follow-up question as well?
Just hold on. I just want to know if she agrees or disagrees. So do you think there must be an eternal mind that grounds these necessary truths?
No, because I don't think they exist.
So then what grounds them?
I don't think... Okay, so what do you mean by ground?
What do you mean by ground?
Yeah, what do you mean by what?
It depends on their existence.
You're asking the opposite question.
Their existence would be dependent upon minds, right? Because propositions are mind dependent. So before there are people to utter these propositions, you can't call them true, right? Because
what do they have?
Correct.
These abstracts are concepts that are dependent on minds.
Yeah, but they're grounded within a mind, right?
Hold on. But without our minds and without our language to utter these propositions, the laws of logic, as we know of them, don't exist because they are tools. And we're going to do this whole map for the place thing. I'm so sick of that word, and I'm so sick of...
Wait. How does you having to express them have anything to do with their existence?
Because before people existed, the word contradiction didn't exist. P and not P.
What's the argument for that?
Hold on. Do you think triangles existed?
No, what's the argument for that?
The argument for that is that you need language to happen to cause these utterances.
I don't believe language is created.
Okay.
Well,
so
let me ask a question real quick.
You have to believe that.
Hold on.
Sorry, Tiny. Wait. You think language existed before people?
Yeah, I think there is a universal language that existed before people.
Yeah. So, and what would that language be?
Whatever
Arabic?
it may be. How does that matter?
Come on, dude.
Yeah, if you call that language X, you come on. If I call it X, what happens?
Language did not exist before people.
What's the argument for that?
Do you know what language is? Okay,
what's the evidence language existed prior to human beings?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, if you want propositions to exist, they're gonna hinge on a language.
Exactly, and you
need. Okay,
and what language? Fine. Right, but what language existed prior?
And necessary truths.
What's the evidence?
Existed eternally.
What's the evidence that they exist eternally? What's the evidence they exist eternally? What's the argument?
Well, I'm talking to her right now. I'm like, I can't talk to all
so you're running again. Yeah,
no,
but that's
I'm just
cool,
saying I want to talk to
she would ask the same question. So Venus, ask him the question I just asked him.
No, Tiny, you can just tell me. Do you want me to talk to you or her? Which one? Just pick. You have free will. I'm assuming you believe that, no?
Actually, I think you should talk to Bert.
Okay, so I'm talking to him now?
So I don't get to... It's up to you guys. I would like to finish engaging with...
Okay, so Venus wants to finish, so go ahead and talk to Venus.
Okay, so what's the issue with saying that there is like a language that's eternal, and you call it X?
Okay, so what is this eternal language?
What it is does not take away from the fact that it exists. I'm asking you, what's the argument against its existence?
No, the argument against this is that we know that language is something that humans invented. Before people existed, there doesn't seem to be any languages that we observe outside of people. Animals don't...
Is that like an inductive claim or something?
Okay, so this is something that we can empirically observe, that animals...
So an inductive claim.
Okay. What do you mean? It's literally just empirical. Like we can observe.
Yeah. Empiricism is inductive, is it not?
Yeah, sure. You can call it
thank you. I'm not asking for inductive arguments.
Can you like engage honestly? Because you know you're...
I am engaging honestly.
You know you're in the shits here, so it's why you're speaking over me.
I'm in the what?
Because you tried to argue that language exists before people. So do you have any evidence of that? Because
I didn't say all languages. I didn't say particular language.
Okay, I'm just gonna like start muting you if you keep speaking over me because you're trying to really run away from this point.
Nobody's trying to run away. I said particular languages didn't.
Okay. Do you know what
language? Let her finish.
Do you know what language is?
Can you just make the argument, please?
Hello.
Hello. Two hellos.
What the hell is it?
I couldn't hear. There was like a helicopter.
Okay, so what kind of language existed before people?
What do you mean by that?
You said language existed before people, so I want to know what kind of language existed before people.
How does that negate the fact that it exists?
Dude, you need to tell me how it existed before people.
How the fuck does it demonstrate the fact it exists?
If we're saying that there is an eternal mind that existed, then God would be
that's a claim.
his own...
Yeah, but dude...
If this eternal, hold on, when you guys were interrupting, I got muted,
bouncing
right?
around.
So I don't know why we're doing this like hogwashing consistency. So just hold your horses, please. Yeah.
So what's the evidence language existed prior? What is the evidence language existed
I'm asking nicely,
prior?
please. Hold on. Okay, thank you. Look, if we're positing the idea, the abstract entities or abstract object or things, whatever word you want to use, and that what do you call it? That falls under necessary truths, and those necessary truths,
I'm not hearing
since they are
evidence
abstract,
for language existing.
One second. They're grounded within a mind. Then that eternal mind.
Yeah, I'm still not
has
hearing
its own
evidence.
One second. That eternal
of
mind
language
has
existing or this eternal mind.
Okay. Like, I'm not understanding. You guys want to have a one-sided type of mute, but then you double-cross your own standards? What is it?
Okay, so what is the evidence? Just
now
address
you're asking a question,
the
or am I
evidence.
going to be responding to what she said?
The question was, what is the evidence that language existed prior to human beings?
Yeah, I was just answering that question, but unfortunately
no,
I was getting
you were going
and
off on a tangent
within the next 10 seconds.
You were going off on a tangent position to say that this eternal mind exists, and you're saying that this eternal mind is the source for this language. So what is the evidence? What is the evidence of this eternal mind?
I just want to know how is this a precept?
Okay, we need to can I just engage with him for 5 minutes? Because if we look at the definition of language, it is a principal method of human communication consisting of words used in a structured and conventional way conveyed by speech, writing, or gesture. Right. Now, I can argue that animals have some method of communication, right? But as we know, there doesn't seem to be any laws of logic or any concepts that we observe from animals, right? They're not able to utter these concepts in a language that would allow for mathematics or laws of logic for abstracts or philosophies that you're mentioning. So are you telling me that the laws of logic existed in like a sort of animalistic kind of language? Because as far as I know, the way that we, edify the laws of logic is using human speech and thoughts and concepts, right? These things did not exist before people, based on the nature of what they are, being a tool for humans to rationalize with. This didn't exist before humans. We're doing the map for the place thing again, where the concept we use to describe something, we're treating it as if it's identical to the thing that it's describing. The laws of logic describe a principle or a sort of nature that we observe within reality. And our conceptualization of it is what we call literally a concept or the laws of logic. That didn't exist before we conceptualized it, right? The thing exists, but the laws of logic is not the identical thing that we're talking about. It would be our extraction of it. You need us to extract these laws from nature. You can't say that the extraction existed before the people who extracted it. That doesn't make any sense. So I'd like you to tell me how exactly the laws of logic, or whatever you're calling these necessary truths, existed before people who uttered propositions, which is what they are.
Okay. Yeah, you made like several different things, so I might ask you along the way to repeat them if you don't mind.
Do you want me to summarize it for you? Laws of logic.
No. Like I have
Hold on. You said I said a million different things. I'll help you out. Laws of logic is concept. Yeah, I could say. I will help you out. Laws of logic. Laws of logic is concept. Concept need people. Concept can't exist before people. Does that help?
What's the argument for that?
Because concepts are literally mind dependent. They're dependent on human minds. Have you seen a
No. You said they did not exist before people.
You asked me a question. You like to overtalk people.
Are you trying to engage or not?
I am engaging, but you keep speaking over me. So the argument for that is that we don't observe concepts coming from animals or rocks. Have you?
Are you going to give the argument?
Yes, I just
because
did.
This is just assuming that humans... Hold on. Somebody's...
I just gave you it. We don't observe concepts. We don't observe concepts.
You want me to respond or not?
Yeah, I am answering you. We don't observe concepts.
Do you want me to?
We don't observe concepts coming from anywhere other than human minds. Can you tell me where else we've observed? So you're running so hard from this question that I'm asking you. Where else have we observed these concepts? Stop reading him so he can answer. Where else have we observed these concepts that you're talking about? Can you tell me?
That's just an inductive claim. That's not an argument.
Dude, where else have we observed?
This is like an argument from ignorance, bro. This is like actual horseshit.
Believing in God is also a claim.
Wait, why are you constantly muting?
You're embarrassing yourself.
Hold on,
Do you want me to respond or not?
Venus, just
you
let
want me to
him
respond or
get
not?
30 seconds to cry, and then we can respond.
Well, what is that, like condescension that your Western manners taught you?
Venus, you're gorgeous, by the way.
It's
okay.
Thank you so
Venus
much.
is a
So
goddess
can you
among human
just tell me how that's
beings.
not an inductive claim?
Can you tell me
It
what
would
your
have been
evidence
awesome if
is?
you could have
Why are
done
like 5
any of
people
this
just shouting
without
over
the
each other? Can we hold on?
It'd be awesome. It'd be
It'd be awesome if
awesome.
I can just talk to Venus.
It'd be awesome. It'd be awesome if you could
It'd be
provide
even
the
more awesome if I can
evidence.
just talk to Venus.
It would be awesome if you could provide any evidence that
I'm trying to ask a question,
logic
sir.
existed
Sir.
outside of minds.
Sir, she's an
What is the
independent
evidence?
woman, right?
No,
I'm
no.
sure,
You're going to
you Westerners
engage
gave her her rights so she
my
can speak for
child,
herself.
my son. Daddy is talking. You need to calm yourself while Daddy is speaking. I am the father here.
Like
you are my son, and I would like for you. I would like for you. I would like for you to slow your.
Don't talk like a fag, bro.
Oh wow. Yeah, that you can't have any.
Wow, the person who believes in God is calling people the
revelation.
That was his way out.
The revelation
the person who believes in
has
God
been
calling
made.
people the F word.
He's a
Guys,
closet
report
case.
him. Report him.
Can I
Report
be
him.
the defender of God next? And let me
Report
say
him.
that I don't want, like, that's
all of the people that
yikes.
support him in this chat, you guys are all following a really narcissistic leader.
Yeah, that
That's
was
the most narcissistic.
He ran
Seriously,
from every.
like imagine
Hold on,
writing
guys.
that hard.
Hold on, guys.
I don't know.
Hold on. This child we just had in our live was running from every single demonstration, running from every justification possible, running from every single point he was trying and failed to make about this imaginary thing that he was trying to propose. Now, if you're going to say necessary truths exist and you're not talking about the state of affairs of reality, then you are making a vacuous, empty, and unjustifiable argument. This man was not a man. That was a boy.
Okay, so all the people meet writing him in chat, I want you to drop in chat how language and concepts existed before people. Rose, Nini, all you meet writers, type in chat right now, how did language exist before people? Because language is the principal method of human communication consisting of words used in a structure.
He just got obliterated.
Type in chat right now how that existed before people. Or I'll dumb it down for you. How did concepts exist before people? Type it in chat. Everyone meet writing and gifting him, type it in chat.
Define language.
I literally just read the definition, dude. But I'll say concepts.
No, I wasn't listening. Sorry.
No, it's chill. I'll just say concepts. Look, you don't care. Yeah. That's fine. Okay, see, all of you you're just suckers, right? You don't have any argument. You just meat writing because he's Muslim, right? And it's so funny.
Yeah, don't even respond to
they're
the peanut
meat writing because they're brainwashed.
Yeah, don't even give them recognition. Do not even give them Venus. Do not even give them recognition.
Your prophet married a kid.
I think
anything you have to say.
Yeah, they support
literally,
pedophilia.
like, look at how they're treating the women in your religion, and you guys are writing for that.
Yeah, what's
Same
up?
thing
Don't
with
worry
all
about them.
religions. They treat women
Hey,
like
bro.
crap.
Woman's mind is
yeah, what's up?
Hey, bro.